All right, everyone on mute, please. Do, 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 do. All right, everyone on mute, please. Oh no. Okay. All right. It was doing what it did before. How many we got? Ben, Gab, John, Derek. God, this is exciting, isn't it? Mhm. Do, 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 do. I reckon if we get 25, I'll be quite happy. Francis, could you admit all as we go? Hello, 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 hey Bell, how are
Hello,
you?
Colin. Hi,
Good to
everyone.
see you. Hey, Tomozo, I don't know if hey, hello, hello, how's it going? Paul, long time. How's it going? Dan,
Hey, good.
go. Ben, how's it going, Ben? Greetings. Do.
Good, thank you.
Toby there. Hey, Toby, how's it going? Sarah, long time. Just gonna wait just as we get a few stragglers coming in off the end of their 1 o'clock calls. All right, cool. Francis, could you let anyone in as we go, please? Hi, Tomta. Hello. George, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. Bradford and Tom. I was going to do the webinar version of this, but honestly, I saw Zoom's pricing. I was like, another $69. We're going to have to do millions of dollars of ARR just in this product just to pay for the subscriptions that we're paying out to run the business. I swear. Okay, let me share my screen. Good, 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 good. Okay, Francis, you got that? Right, so look, let's go. Happy Friday, and thank you so much for taking the time to join me and the and the rest of the Series A Advisor Pro team for a 2 o'clock, maybe some could call it a post Friday lunch graveyard shift. But let's give it a go. We've got around about 55 minutes or so to take you through the Advisor Pro platform. Francis, would you mind just keep letting anyone in who's joining late, please? And my challenge here, my challenge, my happy opportunity is to take you through officially what is, I guess we're kind of out of pre-launch now. I've been kind of poking and prodding this thing. Josh and I have been building it. The rest of the team, we've been building it for around about 11 months now. And it's all come out of frustration, if you like, in terms of that initial moment of being in front of a client and asking that client to slow down in order for me to speed up, in order for me to catch up with them, to understand what the hell's going on, or to try and mitigate the whole kind of 6 hour of research, the preparation of trying to dig into this, trying to be the expert in the room. And so Advisor Pro really is a combination of a number of different frustrations and pains and observations. And to be honest, observations with many of you in the room, people I've coached or taken through a certain process. There's one thing to be said about, shall we say, academic qualification and knowing what to say, but it's another thing actually doing that in the room with the client, in a live situation. So Advisor Pro, again, it's sort of, when I talk about this amalgamation of things, it started off very much because I was seeing so many different pitch decks, both as an investor, but also as an advisor. I was looking at, all of these different things and trying to make head or out of, whether this was a great business hidden by a terrible pitch deck or whether this was a terrible business, even worse in some cases, hidden by a really good pitch deck. And try to understand whether some of these propositions were actually worthwhile investing in or worthwhile passing on to other investors. It meant that we developed a technology that would be able to dig into that pitch deck, enrich that pitch deck with hundreds of different data points. And what you're seeing now is an extension of that thinking. And what, as I said, that's what Advisor Pro basically is. But then something specifically tuned for the advisor. Okay, right. That's enough of me waffling for a bit. Oh no, it's not. It's just the start of me waffling. Um, this is, I've already talked about some of this late nights, endless admin, manual reports, time lost, clients lost, potentially clients lost. In fact, a few times clients lost because I was always chasing my tail. I couldn't scale the business because I was always buried in preparation. I couldn't really focus on my own performance and therefore the client's performance because I'm writing reports. So that consistency, that it was just kind of it was lacking and it was taking me away from the thing I really, really loved. Things like this, to be honest. I love this kind of stuff. Coaching, being in front of clients. I loved that, but the preparation and then the delivery was killing me. So I was looking for a better way. So, like I said, manual, 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 manual. By 2023, I had loads more clients, but I basically had more chaos, unlimited chaos, chaos like you wouldn't believe. And the kind of chaos that I want to help you guys avoid at all costs. If I wind the clock forward now to today and certainly this last 9 months as we've developed the product and we've actually shown real interesting points of impact with both our clients, but most importantly, their clients, we've seen a 90% reduction in cost and time. And yes, there is definitely AI involved in this. And I'm more than happy to talk about that, of course. This isn't just ChatGPT. In fact, I actually asked ChatGPT what was the difference between us and it. And I'm going to give you its own output back to us later on in the session. So if AI can handle 90% of the heavy lifting, that means so much of the manual part of what we do is then complete for us. The 10% is us to finesse the kind of reports and documents that you're going to see, allowing us to focus on what really matters. Now, I've been asked continually, well, why don't you just go direct to the client and make this 100%? I don't want to do that because our mission at Series A is all about trying to enable a million founders build their business. And if I try to cut out advisors, I lose that amplification. Advisors I see as this massive, massive, massive amplification, but also, a great opportunity to help you guys build your businesses and also, of course, help the end client, which is the end founder. So what can we do? We analyze client data, we bring in business plans, we bring in pitch decks, we can scrape websites, and we can give ready to use deliverables and professional grade reports, insights, and recommendations in matters of minutes. So every single client session that you have is a wonderful opportunity to demonstrate your instant expertise in that business. Now, I would imagine that many of you have seen the movie The Matrix. There was a scene in there where I think Neo had to learn to fly a helicopter in seconds. Similar kind of thing. Yeah, you've been augmented here by the AI, surrounding your human expertise, your human, your human in the loop potential. And what we're trying to do here is really, really help you build your business and protect your equity and engagement. The process is very simple. We get the pitch deck, we get the report back in around about 16 minutes. Then you can choose from over 200 documents that's as of today. That could be an executive summary. It could be an investor memorandum. It could be a go-to-market strategy, a sales playbook. It could be pretty much anything that you could possibly imagine. We've just got so far with around about 200 documents. Our plan is to have 2,000 documents by the end of the year, which would then be provisioned for you guys to be able to choose from to then position as that 90%, 85% of a deliverable to your client. So the things that used to slow me down in the rest of my coaching practice, the things that I do with founders now actually helps me accelerate because I can take on more clients, I can do more things smarter. Bum. Okay, this is the little conversation I had with ChatGPT right here. So that I do have these kind of questions. People do ask me this kind of thing. So why would I not just not use ChatGPT? I can see a couple of you in the room right now. Why would I not just do that? And that's totally fine. Yeah. What we've done, we've built the whole car, and the car is getting fancier and fancier and faster and faster. And ChatGPT is incredible, don't get me wrong, but it's providing this wonderful horizontal platform that we can use to then build on top of. We also use Anthropic, and we also have elements of our own AI platform that we've built into the whole analysis engine as well. So I mean, we have Josh in the room here. Josh has, helped design a whole bunch of this system. We're pulling and pushing and scraping and fiddling around with vast amounts of data and putting it all together into something that instead of you trying to figure out a prompt, and some of our prompts are 10 pages long, and instead of you trying to figure that out, you press a button and we do it for you. The people who have been using this at beta are reporting 20 hours of savings per week. I'm one of them. I'm biased, but that's allowed us to work with 3 times more clients. The perception of value and us being the experts now or what we do has just gone through the roof. So our credibility's gone through the roof as well. So again, we're back to speed and efficiency. And it's quite interesting because although the initial cohort and audience is business coaches, board advisors, non-execs, fractionals, mentors, etc. I've got some wonderful quotes from, for example, Chiquita, who I don't know if Chiquita's in the room, and if you are, thank you so much for this beautiful quote. She stepped into a new role, at CVS Health, as a senior person in CVS Health. So she's actually used them as a new hire to actually differentiate herself from other people in the business to go out and say, this is what our go-to-market strategy should be. This is what this should be. This is, and so on and so on. Victor's currently, with Google. He's also an executive coach. Kirill, he's a chief revenue officer in a FMCG business. Great guy. Again, these kind of people are, they know what they're doing. As of today, we have 3 editions. We have the starter edition, we have the professional edition, which is a bit more professional than the starter edition. No, there's definitely a bit more to it than that. There's a conversational AI engine, and there's some other more advanced features in there. The starter edition and the creator edition are the ones we're going to see today. And yeah, so if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to jump into a demo just so to run you through. Let me just stop that share and just start this share. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, get rid of that, get rid of that. I'm on this giant, great big screen here, so if you see my head wobbling around here, that's why.
Colin, there's a worksheet showing.
Am I sharing the wrong screen? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's just that, the worksheet.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Sam.
no worries, mate.
All right, here we go. Let's get rid of Slack. I hate Slack. Let's get rid of all this. Get rid of that. Oh my gosh. But bear with me. That's my Outlook. What could possibly go wrong here? Live
You're a
demo.
busy man, Colin.
I am a. Where's it gone? Oh, there we go. Let's bring another window up. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Da, da, da.
I'll come, don't worry.
Oh my gosh. Right. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Right. So let's make that full screen. Yeah, just very simply, the sign up, you'll get a link to sign up at the end with some free credits and some gratuities. You just do that from here, and you can sign up using Google or obviously a username and a password. Or we log in, and we're going to log into my master account here. So this is the version with the studio edition and the professional edition. Um, and the first thing that we will see, let me just shrink the Zoom window. We have a list in the homepage of recent clients. Um, I had a guy who's a hotel consultant asking me to do some analysis on some hotels down here in Bournemouth. We got another one here that's a startup called 10 billion. You can see here, just from a navigation perspective, what we've got is a very simple interface. My clients, we've got a marketplace, we've got the creator edition and a content hub. Up here, we can create new clients or generate a rapid impact kit from up here, as we can from here as well. You've got credits here. Gold credits are basically a new client check, and regular credits are credits to generate rapid impact kits. And we have alerts and notifications up here. So what I'm going to do just really quickly, just to kind of kick things off, and whilst we're all ready and anticipating things, I've got a couple of additional slide decks that I'm going to just submit here. One's called Accentify, which, funny enough, I found on the internet, but I've actually coached this guy, lovely guy. He's an actor who's all about helping people, actors, aspiring actors, modify their accents so they can get new parts. So we're going to create that client. The reason I'm doing it now is because it can take about 15 minutes for us to go out to the all the different data sources that we're going to and figure out what's going on. I'm also just going to go out to somewhere completely random. Top restaurant in Bournemouth. Hot, really? No, thanks. Let's go to Lola's. Lola's is quite nice. I've been there. I wonder if anyone else has been there. You see, look, there's not really much on that website at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Lola's as a new client, and we're going to put the URL in there. There you go. So Lola's has started, and we're going to almost pretend that we've been to an event. In fact, one of my guys, he works, he's in New York. He was actually at an event, and we run this kind of exercise for every single one of the startups that was exhibiting at the show. Value Tech Factor. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. We'll do that, and we'll do that, and that is then all set up. And what it meant is it meant that he could actually go around to each one of those founders with our insight, or go around to the investors with our insights and say, now look, if I click into here, you can see that from a VC standpoint, we think that you score around about a six. We think that the market size is between 12 and 34 billion annually. We think that, overall, if you were to come up against the VC, we think that from a market needs perspective, you're going to score six. Innovation, you're going to score seven, and so on and so on. And here's why. From an overview perspective, we have everything that we can possibly find from the pitch deck, but also enriched with those 200 data points and anything else that is out there that we can find anywhere online. I understand what the product is, what the product suite is, understand the workflow of the product. I understand the target customers, the customer segments, the geography. I understand the market need summary, the supporting arguments behind that market need. I understand the market risks, I think there should be 10 different risks in here that we call out that could be used for you as the advisor or the coach in conversation with this client. I understand the market size. Not only do I understand it, but the platform actually goes out and creates a full top-down and bottom-up analysis of that market to further interrogate, if you like, the validity of that pitch deck and the assumptions that the founder is making. It's one of the key things that we do here. These sections here these are the things really that are taking so much time because these are all automatically generated by our AI. These kind of things, the product, the business model, typically that comes from the pitch deck. The competition. If you want to sit in front of a client, your client, and say, yeah, you know what about Benevity? Because I think they serve about 650 iconic brands. They've already got Coca-Cola. They've already got Microsoft and Visa. And you start using this in your coaching sessions, in your advisory sessions, and every single one of these is a 30-minute conversation with your client. Every single one of these is a potential to upsell into some kind of further engagement. We have business model there, and we also have traction. We've also included a nice, simple top 10 questions to ask this client. Now, you've just met them. You you might not want to go straight into what moat is considered strong for 10 billion. That might not be too fluffy. But what I've asked for here in the platform is the perfect answer. Anything less than the perfect answer, I'm going to dig into that with the client. So this is what you get back for a gold credit. Okay, and you can download the company profile up here and get all of this analysis. Now this is 2 weeks worth of work just 2 years ago. Okay. Now, what we've done is extend this massively now. So the analysis, if you remember, that was the initial thing. That was our investor product. But now what I'm able to do is from here generate a rapid impact kit. And so I've actually created a new pack here called the webinar pack, funny enough. And in that webinar pack is an investor memorandum, a gap analysis, a customer persona, as in all of the different audiences that this customer should sell to, fundraising strategy, a sales playbook, a business model canvas, analyst review, and a VC pitch deck review. Now, given the audience in this room, I would imagine that every single one of you could use every single one of these documents to either reinforce your value proposition as the coach, as the mentor, but also potentially to upsell that client into some kind of engagement to therefore give you fractional income. So I'm going to kick that off. That's going to take 50 credits. Now, I've given you each 100 credits as part of a very big thank you, and I do thank you for turning up. I've given you 100 credits to use on this initial push, and we're going to create that, and that's going to go off, and it's going to do its thing, and it's going to come back and just whilst we wait for that, I'm going to go into a different client. I'm going to go into, you can see, look, these are NAs at the moment because they're still in progress. They're currently going through our back end, and the results should be back hopefully in about 15 minutes or so. If I go into, let's say, Scalix. Scalix is something that come across my desk just yesterday. And so now in my conversations with that founder, who I've actually known a few years, he was actually on an accelerator that I run a few years ago. He's now started a business that's completely different to that business before. Now, instead of me trying to dig into that pitch deck and go, oh, what on earth is this? I don't need to do that. I start looking at this and go, okay, it's a desktop first AI development platform. Ah, interesting. That sounds really cool. We've got fragmented ecosystems. We've got this, we've got that. Okay, all right, good. Let me get some questions. What are the benefits here? Okay, defensibility. We've got some huge problems in defensibility. What risks do we have in terms of free open source? All of these, again, I'm just reiterating, all of these are absolutely, absolutely key in terms of understanding what the hell is going on with this guy, with this potential business. Does he have any traction? No, none. What's the business model? You know, and so on and so on. And again, just here, we haven't run an impact kit here. What I might want to do here is actually just run a single document. And so I'm going to create a custom kit here, and I'm going to dig into the marketplace where we've got hundreds. Josh, we might need to change that. We don't have 1,000 plus just yet. That'll be next week. But we've got hundreds of these documents. So I might just want to run an executive summary. There you go. And I'm going to click there and let me just make sure that that's the right client. There we go. I'm going to click on Get Documents, Company Scalix, and I'm going to call this Scalix Exec Summary. There we go. I'm going to submit that. And very, very quickly, I'm going to have that document come back to me. No problem at all. Let's go into 10 billion. Let's see how we're doing on those kits. They're not back yet, but I can see that they're not back yet. You see document generation in progress. We've got 8 documents coming, and we've got another 1 document coming there as well. So, oh, hang on a second. All right, generated. Package has been generated. Let's have a look. Let's go back into 10 billion. And here's the first document. Now, interestingly enough, just recently in fact, I've just done a bit of a Blue Peter thing. There's one I prepared earlier. I've spoiled the surprise, but we'll roll with this for now. I'm going to ignore business model canvas for a second, but these are the other documents now starting to come back. Here's the investor memorandum, and bear in mind that literally a minute and a half ago, this content didn't exist anywhere in the world. It does now, because this is all about 10 billion. This is all about the founding story. This is all about everything that we can dig into directly into the Google document now and look at the structure here, the company overview, the product and tech, the risk factors. And what I want you guys to do is then double click that, take that off. This is your header. Oh, typo, your header here. This is your document. You muck about with it, you change it, you do whatever you like with it. And of course, once you then come back out of there, that's going to stay in the platform. That's your deliverable, or that's 90% of your deliverable. Put your contents in there, put your graphics in there. Yeah, but this content didn't exist 2 minutes ago. Let's take a look at a couple of the other documents. There we go. We've got a sales playbook. So if we've got any GTM advisors in the room, and I know we do, this used to take me 4 weeks to write. Not anymore. We've got a 20-page sales playbook together with ICP, with personas, with demographics, with all these kind of beautiful things, complete with email messaging, LinkedIn messaging, with discovery call, with demo stage, objection handling. I mean, this actually gives me a little shiver up the back just thinking about just how hard this used to be doing all this kind of stuff. Okay. Um, if you want to know what a VC really makes of your pitch deck, here's a pitch deck review from a VC. And we specifically asked it to be nasty. So it's pretty brutal, the feedback here. And again, I'll let you guys play around in your own packs to do this. So what have we seen so far? We've seen very quickly a new, these are still going. We've seen very quickly how easy it is to generate a new rapid impact kit, how we can then use those kits, modify those kits, to become our analysis. What I'm going to show you now, whilst these ones come back, is the creator edition. Now, we did this because I was conscious that us having to foist our version of what we think the document should be that you use on you probably wasn't going to be the best possible way to go about doing these things. And so if you think about all the different likely scenarios, let's say you're a communication strategist and you want to create communication strategy for a company, great. But you might be a communications and PR strategist, and we haven't considered that. So the point of this is to be able to now take any document, any document, anything in the world, anything at all. Did I say anything? And upload that document or paste that content of that document in here. And I'm going to try this. I'm going to, in fact, let's just do a quick Google. Let's do a quick Google. Let's do a business model. Oh, look, business model canvas. Let's see if we can get in here. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the business model canvas. Yeah, this is used all over the place, like key partnerships, activities, resources, value prop, customer relationship. It's very used. It's very much used often like with startup methodology, lean startup. I think was it Eric Ries? It could have been, but let's have I downloaded this? How can I download this? Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. So I'm downloading that file. There we go. Now that's not a report. That's a picture. But what I'm going to do in the studio, I'm going to go back to documents there. I'm going to create the magic report. I'm going to create a new template. I'm going to upload that file. There it is. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. Now, what we're doing now, our AI is looking at that document and going, what's this? And it's going to break it down and deconstruct and evaluate that whole document. And then what it's going to do, it's going to give us the opportunity to reconstruct that whole document, which, there you go, if I speak slowly, here it is. So it's given us the master AI prompt. So this is the prompt that we now put back into our engine, and you can edit this prompt and make it more specific. These are the different content sections, and it's found that all from that diagram, the activities, the value prop, the relationships, and so on and so on. We click on next. These are the different fields. We click on next. We're going to call this business model canvas webinar. Where oh, I can't type webinar special edition. I'm going to save that template. There we go. Webinar special edition. We're going to create that document. And I've got the opportunity now to categorize this document. Now, we work with you to create your own documents. You know, you wouldn't have to do this all yourself. We can work with you on this. I'm just going to fill that in there. We're going to auto categorize this. And you can make the document private or public. Now, where we will go to in the marketplace is give you the opportunity to generate your own documents. And if other people buy those documents and use those documents, you'll get a credit back against your own usage of the platform. So I would mark this as public so that anyone could use it. But maybe if you're creating it yourself, you could mark it as private. And if it's private, of course, only your user account can do it. Or if you're in a larger corporate, only your company can use it. We've also got AI auto categories here as well. So we're going to generate suggestions. And it's applied all of those correctly. Just reconfirming the AI prompt and the different components. We've got a manual step in here just for the moment where we simplify the report a little bit. So that step is still in there. Probably won't be in there for much longer. I won't bore you with the technicalities, but if we don't press that, the report will be about I was going to say 600 pages long. It won't be that big, but it'll be quite large. So we've actually now pulled that down to 4 components. Again, don't worry about it too much. Boom, boom. We create a custom cover for that document. We click on next. And that now is in our marketplace. So that document can now, if I go to BMC, type in BMC. Oh, no, hang on. I did this earlier. Model camp. Oh my gosh, which one was it? Josh, which one was it?
Yeah, so if you go back to the marketplace, I think the first one was correct, and just paste what you
Oh,
copied.
okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, here it is.
Fix it.
Here it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My mistake. My mistake. So there you go. Look, I needed tech support just quickly there. Thank you. So we've done 10BN. We're now going to create the business model canvas for 10BN. Going to get those documents. And so we've literally just found something on the internet that we like, think to ourselves, I could use this with my client. And we submit that. And in around about 90 seconds, we're going to get that document come back in the MBN portal. In here. And you can see, there we go, we've got recent activity. It's still processing it. The rest of the documents have come back for that whole webinar pack. They're all in there. For some reason, we don't have the preview today. It's decided to not make an appearance. But whilst we've been doing that, Lola's has come back. Poor old Lola's is my local friendly tapas restaurant in Bournemouth. But you can see just from this website, which has nothing on it at all, nothing. What we now have, if we were a restaurant consultant, we now have everything that we could possibly imagine about Lola's as a business. We have their product, well, very simple product. We have their target customers. Whoops. We have the market need. We have the market risks. And here's the competition. We couldn't find any competition, unfortunately, on that one. That's possibly not the best example. In fact, I'm not sure if all of that information has come back just yet. I'll give you a different example of a web scrape just quickly. Restaurant Daniel. So did I'm not sure. Bradford, are you in the room? If Bradford is in the room, this is an example that we actually run through. Bradford's is actually a restaurant turnaround specialist based in New York City. He was actually trained by the executive chef at this restaurant. And what we did is we decided, well, hang on, let's have a look at this. I think what we need to do is analyze Restaurant Daniel just from the website. We found the product, we found the customers, we found the market need, and this, that, and the other. And then for Bradford's business, which is all about writing reports and turnaround reports for restaurants, we then were able to conduct and build a restaurant feasibility analysis, which then potentially Bradford could deliver to any client, not just not just his first one. They could deliver this report to 100 different customers. Okay. All right. So our other ones are still in progress. So right there, look, I'm just going to pause for a second and I'll come off of screen share. And I just want to, open up to any questions at all. I've got Francis messaging me asking, can I read this and relax? Any questions at all? Totally fine. If not,
Actually, one question, Colin, if I could.
yeah.
Sean.
Yeah. Hey, Sean.
Hey, so when you were in the creator version then,
Mm.
and you were in the marketplace, you created a brand new template
Mm.
on the fly. Is that kind of my, if like my version of the marketplace, so kind of my, you know, my marketplace, or is that kind of anyone that subscribes to your service, that they will get access to all of the content and templates that everyone else creates? For example, if Josh creates one I don't know, on a SWOT analysis, and he uploads that, would I get automatic access to that, or would I only get access to that if I create that in my own, sphere, my own lens
Yeah.
of this?
Yeah, great question. So you have the option when you create the document to make it public or private. So if you make it public, and just prior to us implementing this kind of credit system and this almost like this credit barter system, if you make it public right now, yeah, everyone will see it. If you make it private, only your user account will see it. So the documents that you'll actually have access to, I probably should have said, you'll see all of your documents in your own document hub. So right now we've generated 233 rapid impact kits. We're just slowing down a bit. Give me a sec, Sean. Josh, can you put an extra 50 cents on the credit, please? Thank you. There we go. So
Hmm.
this is a list of all the things that I've run recently in this account. No one else's account, just my account. 991 documents. No one else can see those specific documents about those clients. In the marketplace, these are the templates, Sean, to your question. The only ones you can see here are the ones that have been marked private, public by anyone.
Right.
Yeah. So in the future, if you have something you think, you know what, I want to share that with the world, yeah, you can mark it as public, and then we'd agree some kind of bartering thing where if someone buys it, you get an extra 10 credits back, 20 credit, 100,000 million credits back on the platform. And we'll get to this.
Cool. Thank you.
A million credits might be a bit much, Colin.
Not a million credits. I didn't say.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Tomta, did you have a question?
I did, yeah. Full disclosure, I didn't type in my name particularly well, so it's just Tom.
Tom.
Um, Part of my surname. So I'm very interested in client feedback. So let's say, for example, you produce an output. It's a very good first draft. Let's say 90% proofread, make some manual personal updates to your deliverable, but then you present it to the founder, for example. How transparent have you been in terms of this tool that you've used to produce this deliverable, and what's the reaction been to that so far?
Um, that's a very, very good question. I'm always transparent in terms of, yeah, look, we're using everything available to get to the outcome, the best possible outcome for you as a business. Um, and the majority of people are like, yeah, great. Yeah. If they're talking about let's do it all manually and take 12 weeks to do that, as opposed to augment the human and take 12 days to do that, then that's a perfectly acceptable position as far as the vast majority of people that we're talking to. There are some exceptions, okay? And the exceptions are the authors that we're working with. Yeah, the extension to Advisor Pro is actually us now working with business book authors. And all this analysis, we can combine someone's book with our analysis and turn it into a complete interactive platform. And we've already come out the gates really hard on that and signed about 10 clients just this last 2 months. Now, if you think about your average author, they can't be seen to be generating content using AI, as in published work, because that's not really cool at the moment. But our new platform can now generate custom paragraphs of a book specific to the startup that's reading that book. So the outcome is incredible. Yeah, okay, to your point, um, it's not it's not really purist, shall we say, from an author perspective, but from a client perspective, so what? I've got great information. I've got a great outcome.
Cheers, Colin.
Thanks for the question. Jesus, g'day.
Yes, yes. Hi. So I'm wondering, how do you handle confidential information? I would expect to put not just a pitch deck. That could be, you could argue, maybe not confidential, but other materials that I like to feed into the platform for analysis that will be covered under NDAs or some other confidentiality agreements. How do we extend those agreements into the stuff that you will have access to in your platform, and then the documents that are generated when I
Sure.
put additional content, additional details? Is that in my account or is it in your account? Who can access this? What are the provisions on this?
Yeah, great question. And of course, comes up all the time. We don't have access to your client accounts in terms of your documents and deliverables, and neither do we want to. We were toying with God mode. Other no, it just got too complicated in terms of privacy and in terms of security. So we backed away from that. So once you have your login, it's up to you to protect your login, just like everything else. That's your information with your client. From a privacy standpoint, once the pitch decks are uploaded, that goes into our AI. We don't then use that content to retrain or do anything further than that, but we are using it as a data processor to, obviously get the outcome that you want, which would be probably covered under your own agreement with your own client anyway. So it's kind of like an extension of, but yeah, but we can give you the full privacy documents, etc. As you
Yeah,
wish.
great, great. Makes sense, makes sense. Thanks for that.
Thanks, this is Gab.
Yeah, hi, Colin. Thank you.
Hey.
Just a quick one. So, judging by the output that we saw from Lola's, I'm assuming that the analysis is being done more on a global basis because of the market, addressable market that I think it was presented there. Is there an opportunity for us to narrow it down and say, I want an analysis for a UK-based company that wouldn't be yet interested, for example, in international business? Similarly, if I had a customer or a client in, I don't know, say South America, I may want to limit the geography of the analysis for that particular area. Is that possible?
Yeah, Gab, great question. In fact, I probably did probably the most stupid thing I could have done, trying to do a tiny little restaurant in the middle of Bournemouth, with no website, just to really test it. I'll give you a slightly different example. These are two hotels that I did for a guy just yesterday. These are also in Bournemouth. These are boutique hotels, and the amount of information, I was actually quite surprised at the amount of information that we could get back. And so you can't really get much more boutiquey than a little literally boutique hotel in Bournemouth. So it will find what is possible to find. And that was our core premise about trying to build world-class analysis on any business out there. It just so happened then that we pulled together a competitive marketing position document for this hotel, and presented it to the owner of that hotel as a first pass. These are the kind of things that we could do for you, and the guy's going to sign with the consultant we're working with supporting tomorrow. So apologies for Lola, wasn't the best example, but to your point, doesn't really matter.
Thank you.
Does that answer the question, Gab?
I think it's probably part of the 10% that we need to do as an advisor to tailor the report.
Definitely. Thank you. Derek.
Hey, Colin, I'm traveling, so apologize for not being on screen and if it's a little choppy here, but it's excellent. So much work that you put into it. The interface is slick and very intuitive, so that's awesome.
Thanks.
Questions sort of around like financials. Is there something that can go through financials to help you out if you're setting up reoccurring meetings and looking at quarterly financials? Do you have an AI that is going through that and hoping to provide some good follow-up questions or analysis?
Great question. Our next iteration, and bear in mind we're iterating on an hourly basis. Our next iteration is looking at financials. Our next major release is looking at financials and absorbing cash flow, profit and loss, etc., to enrich the analysis. So right now it's pitch deck and business plans or websites. It's a bit more complicated with financials, but immensely achievable. So watch this space, Derek. It's coming.
Excellent. Yeah, because I was thinking in some cases, a small startup, may not have a nice pitch deck or something that, is giving that non-public information.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have access to that, the financials are probably going to be one of the main documents that would be provided to help you get exposed to the inner workings of the business. So makes sense.
Absolutely. Another thing that we're going to be implementing as well is taking transcripts from, we've all got like meeting transcribers and things like that. So we're going to be taking meeting transcripts and then further enriching the documents, the output documents from the contents of the meeting transcripts to make them far more alive, if you like. Dan,
Excellent.
question?
Yeah, Colin. So you had said earlier that you don't use the outcome to learn and have your algorithms learn for future. I mean, obviously, you want it to learn within the customer or client that you're working with. But my assumption is that because a lot of these founders and new startups have a new idea, there might be new market segments, new product segments that there's not a lot of information on the web about, especially from a market perspective. I wonder how much it learns, I guess, non-customer specific. So if somebody's asked a question about a market or a product set that there's not a lot of information on, how much could it learn within the tool to start building internally?
It's an interesting question because, again, if I come back to the premise of world-class analysis on any company, a large part of that is the market it operates in. So if the market doesn't have sufficient size or information, then there might be an argument that it's not a venture scalable business.
Okay.
Because there would be information on that market, even if it's a fledgling market. If we took AI 10 years ago, there was probably information out there, not like there is today, but there would be definitely things appearing on hype cycles like Gartner hype cycles. There would be definitely things, like horizon planning, things like that, about technologies to look out for. So our models go out and look at all kinds of different data sources to ascertain the viability on a investability of that business, of that pitch in the context of the broader market. So if it's a tiny market size, it's going to score really low in terms of market opportunity and market size. It might be a great idea, but if there's no market for that great idea, well, realistically, it's not an immediate investment opportunity. So we're going to score it low. That's not to say that the analysis that comes back on that business might not actually be really interesting. It just might say that the scoring's low. I think there's a few different things going on in that question, Dan. But yeah.
Hey, Colin, there's a question on the chat that I'm going to read out.
Yeah, sure.
So, firstly, thanks you for this amazing presentation. It's a job well done. My question is around authentication and validation of the information that AdvisorPro.ai collates from various documents it produces, given all the fake news on the dub. And this is from John McCrory.
Oh, John, you give us the toughest question,
Yeah.
honestly. Just like our coaching sessions.
Mm.
Where are you, John? That's
Can't raise
right.
his hand, apparently.
That's right. So, yeah, fake news. Who knew that was a thing? So look, from a hallucinations perspective, I think that was probably that's the most obvious thing that we all go to. One of the reasons why is that I'm never going to claim that this is the 100% model is because A, you guys need to be the human in the loop, be that there's still potentially the opportunity for, things to be, made up. We haven't seen it hugely, but we saw it more recently on the earlier versions of ChatGPT 5. 4 was seen pretty stable. 5 looked like it was just trying to look after us and say whatever we wanted to say, which meant if the information wasn't there, it would come up with this incredible prose and incredible output based on almost near fiction. So we kind of had to dial back the model and adapt accordingly. So my point here is that you've got to check, of course, check. This is you as the human in front of your client. What we're trying to do is augment you with as many tools as possible to make you look as good as possible. 85, 90, maybe even 95% might be perfect, but I can't guarantee that. Thanks, John. Thanks, Sam. Toby.
Hi, Colin.
Hey.
A slightly tongue-in-cheek question, but
Uh-oh.
is there a link or is there any correlation between your Advisor Pro rating and the funding you've actually secured from investors?
No.
Yeah, it's too early, I guess.
Yeah, it's too early. And in
Okay.
fact, if we put in some of the most advanced businesses in the world, if you put Airbnb in here, it comes back and scores 3. If you put Uber in there, it comes back and scores 2. And the reason for that, the market is saturated and there's no real need for that service anymore in terms of a new venture in a saturated market. So no, good question, but no.
Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, look, we're coming up to the top of the hour here. I'm just going to share my screen again and try desperately to find the PowerPoint with the QR code. Thank you so many of you for staying on a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate you for that. We've done the Q&A. Let's make that a little bit bigger. It's an awful slide. I don't know what happened to our slide there. But should you wish to sign up, there's a free client check there, and there's enough credits to be dangerous, more than dangerous. And then beyond that, if you were to twist my arm and ask me nicely, I'm sure we can give you a bit of a discount on a subscription. It basically operates on a monthly recurring basis, or if you don't want to do monthly recurring basis, then you can just buy credits to do one-off checks. But yeah, there we go. That's Advisor Pro. Everyone got that QR code? We'll send out the slides, and I think we've also managed to go live on YouTube as well. So thank you, Zoltan. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. Really, really do appreciate it. It's great to see so many of you, so many familiar faces, and yeah, thanks a lot.
Wonderful, Colin. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Colin. Thank you, Colin.
Really good. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Colin.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ben, I owe you an email.
Well, good, buddy. No worries.
Abel, I owe you an email. Troy, I probably owe you an email as well.
We'll talk. I'll find you. I'll put some time in your calendar, sir. Okay?
Sure, buddy. Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Colin. Take care. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Ben. Take it easy, mate. Have we got? Okay, hang on. Bradford, I'm removing you. We've got to catch up soon. Okay.
We can stop the YouTube.
Yes. Can you stop the recording?
And live feed YouTube.
Stop the live feed.